if I would not stop to do that after a while, I would just lose myself into work. I think we all have the capacity to listen to ourselves on the inside.
Your North Star to make decisions is yourself. We tend to forget that that's our power, to create things our own way. Someone else who is in the waiting list, what should we say to them?
Good luck.
You know, as we were saying a few minutes in preparation for the call, I'm very grateful that you took the time to have this conversation about, a question that I have within me and that I see a lot in the people that I work with. And that is like, is it possible to be successful, to have a successful business and enjoy the day-to-day? Is it possible to do it in a way that feels more natural and authentic, respecting our own desires and our speed? Because what we hear a lot on the mainstream leaders of creating businesses is, that you have to work hard and you need to move fast. And that just doesn't work for everybody. And I see a lot of people that I work with that, are looking for role models. They want to see that it's possible. And for me, you're such an example of that. And for that, I think we need a little introduction about who you are. So I think, everybody that lives in Luxembourg knows about Jeremy. Because I don't hear about any other hair salon that is as successful and where people are waiting months to get an appointment. But I also have the feeling that by Jeremy, this salon that you created is more than a hair salon. So would you like to share a bit more about what is by Jeremy?
Well, it's a big thing in a way. To me, I always try to create the space to be more of an experience than just the service you're expecting when you come in. And the way I've seen it was just to create an extension of my own personal space that I could share with people, and creating an environment where, of course, they would do the hair because that was the main service we offered. But at the same time, it was to provide a place where you could just, cut off from the rest of the reality behind the door. And when you come in, you just relax, enjoy, like a very friendly place, actually. So that was the very start, the very beginning. And then it gradually, step by step, evolved into something more, but that came very naturally in a way.
Yeah. So sounds like, this other world that you create inside the salon or this space, because I love going there. I don't need it because you do such great haircuts that I don't need it in a month. But I look forward to going there because it's like a place to connect inside, like all the plans that you have is as if time would stop when you are there. So it has this quality, like a space where you can connect with yourself. Mm-hmm. And I have the feeling that that's also a lot about who you are. Would you say so?
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. I've never designed the place thinking of a concept or something that I could export or turn into a franchise. The space was just designed because I wanted to feel good in that place. And I thought that if I feel good, then I can share it with everyone coming. So everything has been created from that beginning, point of I want to feel good in the space and share it with other people. So while you talk about the plants is the passion of Nico, and Nico started with a few plants and then he loved it. And then, he grew it inside. Like we have also all the books. When I opened the salon 10 years ago, all the books in the salon were all of my personal books that I brought from home. So that's kind of like how it started. Of course, the base thing is the hair and all of what we do with it. But to make it different and more personal than other spaces, I brought all of those things that were from me as a person and not as a professional, let's say. And then we just kind of like interconnected everything, and that just happened. It was there, you know.
So, you know, now that you said that, I kind of feel that that's probably part of the success of your business, that you were not trying to copy a model or, okay, how do you do a hair salon? Let's open the playbook. But is that it sounds like it was built with a lot of integrity. You know, it was who you are, the things you're interested in. And I kind of feel that that's part of the success, because it's very unique, because there cannot be other Jeremy.
That's always what I explain to, you know, like, because we've been growing now about 10 years after the beginning. The place is so much bigger, we have so much more people, and it grew up very organically. But I had people always telling me sometimes, you should open a second salon, you should open like a third, or you should move to I don't know, like a 1,000 square meter place, and you blah blah blah. And every time people would say that, I was kind of bluffing, because I knew it wouldn't be the same if I would do that, you know. Turning the place into a franchise or opening other salons, I always explain people that we've created a super nice environment, of course, because we just love the furnitures, the colors, the plants, the books, the products, everything. But what really makes the place what it is, it's the people working in. And because we're all true to ourselves, because we all have the freedom to express ourselves as professionals and as beings, personal beings as well, this magic happens because of that. You know, there's no formula that will work in any other place. What the formula we have here, it's all those little things coming together that makes, to me, the space special. And it wouldn't be the same if I would take everything into another space without the people working in, you know. That's my vision of how it works.
So then this brings like a couple of questions. So on one side is, how have you defined the limits for this success, right? Because I think that, you know, in the eyes of everybody, it's successful business, no? Like it's you have, I don't know, last time we spoke, you had 200 people on the waiting list. I don't know how many you have now. But then, you know, what are your personal limits on when is enough, when it's good enough, you know? Because I guess there could be other ways to scale the business in a way that you might not have the same team, but you could still find people who are very special. But then how do you make the decision on what kind of success is enough for you?
I think that's a very interesting point, because so when I started, I was on my own, alone, with no one else working with me. And back at the time, of course, what you want is just to create something that is going to be successful. You know, that's the point of creating your business. After all, you just want to run the thing and to have people coming and to make enough money to pay everything. And so when I started 10 years ago, never ever I could imagine that I would be where I am now 10 years later. There was no limit back at the time, because the one thing I wanted was to be successful, you know. And in order to do so, I knew that I had to work to get there. And then very quickly, I had to recruit one more person after 6 months, and then another after a year. And it was a really like gradual step-by-step process. And then naturally, as the business grew, I realized that I didn't want to go beyond a certain point of growing, because to me, that would mean that I would gradually lose some of my personal time to enjoy my own life on the side. So it's kind of like this scaling system, you know, like more work, less personal, and more personal, less work. So as I said, I never made a decision when I started, I will stop at a certain point. That's something I thought about, but it came very gradually. Every time I was hiring someone, I was listening also to my clients and my customers, you know, like every time they would come with one more person, and then sometimes you're like, oh yeah, now it's not just you, you're two, you're three, you're four. And, you know, to me, it was very important to listen to what people would feel about the fact that we are growing. Are they just saying, oh, I like this very intimate, not too many people working thing, or they don't mind and they're just happy that we're growing, you know? So by listening to that, I could just find the middle ground, knowing the balance of my personal life, knowing what my clients wanted, and try to find the balance there. So because the salon has always been designed in a very cozy, very homey feeling, the point has never been to grow like an industrial place, you know. Like, well, you know, the salon as it is now, we have about 100 square meters just for the salon. We could have easy, maybe twice more staff working in the space if we would set it up in a very regular hair salon type, you know. But that was always out of question for me because that's not the way I want to work as a professional, and that's not who I am as a person as well. So it was a very organic way of growing and knowing where to stop. And that's that point that you said, you know, like the waiting list with a lot of people waiting to become new clients was exactly the same thing. At some point, we'd all realize in the salon that we had so many new people coming, people we didn't really know much because the first time someone comes in, you have to create the relationship and all of that. So in order to preserve the experience of our existing clients, we had to make that decision to not take new clients, to preserve the space as it was. Otherwise, we would have to just have more chairs, more hairstylists, and then we just go to more of a regular hair salon type of, you know, a functional place in a way. So I think it's a lot about listening to yourself and what you want to achieve as a professional, but as like the space and the experience you offer to people, and then listening to what people feel when they come to you, I would say.
Oh, you know, I love what you are saying because it sounds like you are so in tune with what's important for you. You know, like you are able to make these decisions because you have such clarity about what's important for you and who you are. Where do you get this clarity from?
I think when I opened the salon, the thing is that I was also in my personal life, I was just getting separated from my ex-partner. And we had a son together, as you know, that was living abroad. So in a way, I had no choice but to put limits on my work because on the weekends I had to go to London to see my son. So it's not like I could just work crazy on weekends and not thinking about my hours or anything. So my life, my personal life forced me to stop at some point because I had to have that time for my son, which was in a way a really good thing. If I wouldn't have had that, I might have probably dived a bit more into this crazy working mode to the point that it's hard to move back, you know. And on the side, um, I don't know. I think to me, it was very natural that I will not do something that doesn't resonate with who I am, you know. And I did it like everyone else when I started working. Sometimes I stayed later for some clients, and you know, I was like giving some favors because like someone is, I don't know, they are sick, so they want to come the day after. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay later for you. But the thing is that if you start doing this, then you don't have the limit between your work and your personal life. And that might be okay for the first year or two that you work because you have to launch a business, you have to work hard. You know, I mean, the very beginning, of course, you have to really launch the engine, the core of your business. But I knew instantly, I would say, that if I would not stop to do that after a while, I would just lose myself into work. And that's not what I wanted because as much as I love work and as much as I like spending some time in my salon, I also enjoy my life on the side. And there are things that I wanted to have time to do, like, you know, that I practice yoga also a lot. And back at the time, I was really like practicing a lot. So I needed to have those limits to do both actually.
So it sounds like it's also priorities, right? When it's like, okay, more time that I spend with my son, then it became very obvious that something had to give in and better be business, you know, than family.
But the good thing is that when I was talking to my clients and telling them, like, for example, when I stopped working on Saturdays, which is a big deal because Saturday for a hair salon is usually like a very big business day. And for a while, we were closed on Saturday. When I explained to my clients and my friends that I had to do this because I had my son to visit in London, and in a way, I didn't have a choice. Everybody understood, you know. No one ever told me, ah, it's not normal. You don't work on Saturday because of your son. So I the fact that I had no choice helped me to frame everything in a way, you know.
Looking from the outside, everybody thinks, "Wow, this is a very successful business." But I am curious about what is success for you? What does it mean?
I think success is the definition of success depends on each person, I would say, because obviously we can see in the world, lots of different successful companies and people and places, and it all depends on what you define yourself as a success. To me, success, that's very, very funny question, because I don't think I've ever really asked myself what success is, but on the very basic level, to me, success is to be able to maintain a company or your professional life, in my case as an independent, being able to sustain, to paying my rent, paying my staff, providing a nice space, and on the side having a comfortable life. I'm not the kind of person who's going to run after money, and I'm not going to run after making, I don't know how many tens of thousands of euros or whatever a month. To me, I just need to be able to provide to myself what I need. Today I have an apartment with my partner where it's a comfortable life. We can go on holidays when we want without having this super luxurious kind of lifestyle, and it's enough for us. It's fine. So success to me is really that, like, I can provide to what I like without always being willing to want more and more and more and more. And on the side, I have my professional success, that I have this super nice place, and I can provide to all of my colleagues and clients what they need and what we want. I don't know how I could define it differently.
I think it sounds like balance. There's a quality of balance, right?
I think so. Yeah.
The business keeps running. I'm able to, pay all the bills, and there's still space to provide for the things that mean to you. And it sounds like you don't provide meaning to luxury or these other kind of things, but to know that you can still do more of what you love and what you enjoy.
It's not about financial success to me. It's a part of it, of course, because as I said, we need to pay the bills and everything, but success is about being happy and having the balance you choose to have. Maybe some people will want to work crazy all the time, and that's their success in life, because it's enough in their balance. And some people will need to have more of a personal time, and then the success will be there more than in the professional life. But what's very interesting in my job is that, I see people all day long, and I talk with people all day long, and I have a lot of, we have 90% of women in our salon, and we have very wide range of women. We have the ones that decided to stop working to take care of their family. We have the ones that are working crazy. They are like successful business women. And then we have others that kind of like are in between, And from talking every day to people that are committing to either personal or professional life, I can see the ones that are, happy, the ones that are maybe less happy or even frustrated sometimes. And I think it has a huge influence on me, because I have, for example, I think of that client, that friend she's a lawyer in a huge firm. She's like a super successful businesswoman, like very, like very sharp, very bright, intelligent. But on her personal life, she's been miserable for a long time, because for her, making money, being super corporate, traveling around the world for work, she was super happy with it, but it was not really what made her happy, because on the side, her personal life was very flat. She couldn't meet a partner. There was lots of things missing. So listening to all of these different experiences from people, I think helped me a lot into what you said, like this balancing things out.
So now I'm very curious, because you speak with so many people all day. Is there any, common characteristics that you see among the people who seem to be happier, more fulfilled in their lives?
Not really, I think. I think it's about knowing yourself. And that is different for everyone. So maybe the common thing would be people who know themselves and that know what they need in order to be happy in life, which means staying home with my kids and taking care of them and committing to my family life, or working my ass crazy and then running a successful company, or working for a company that means something to me. But I think the ones that are very happy in life, the common thing is that they know who they are.
I love that. I love that. That's so powerful. I love that, because I think you just nail the essence of it, because if you know who you are, then you know what are your metrics of success. Because it's not one recipe for everybody. And I think we can be very unhappy when we are trying to copy a model that's not true to us.
Yeah, I think this is one of the main problems today in most of the industries. And we project so much on everything we see, those big companies, and we want to create the same, and it doesn't work for everyone like that.
Yeah. So if we both agree that it's about knowing yourself, to know what you really want, what's gonna bring you purpose, how do you cultivate, or what practices do you have to know yourself?
I think the biggest thing for me has been diving into the yoga philosophy, let's say. I always say that, so that's something that comes quite often in the conversation I have with some of my clients who, when we talk, and they also say, oh, you have this nice place and you have your son on, you managed to have that balance. I think we all have the capacity to listen to ourselves on the inside. So we always know what's best for us. Whether we listen to it or not is something else. But I think we all have that ability to know what's good for us or not. And I think I've always been good probably at listening to that. And I actually remember sometime making decisions that I knew at the time would not be the best business decisions, but I had to make that decision in order to maintain that balance between my personal life and my professional life as well. And it was very important for me, to the point that I would prefer to cut off a little bit more of the professional, knowing that it would preserve my work-life balance, instead of not making that decision and just going more into one side than another. But I think we all have this capacity to listen to ourselves and know what would be best for us.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree that there's the wisdom is within us. The thing is how do we create space to listen to that, or how do we get quiet to listen for that in us? So in that sense, how can you distinguish the noise, of the people that tell you, you should scale the business in this way, let's do a franchise, yeah. You're not doing this, or there's always also a voice within us that is telling us, like I should push harder, I should do this. So how do you manage to, identify what is the voice of the noise versus the voice of the wisdom?
I do everything by the feeling. So I do not intellectualize a lot of things, both in my professional and personal life. But when someone tells me something, I'm always super open to listening to what people are going to tell me. But usually, for example, those people telling me, you should grow, you should open a second salon, you should move to a like 5 times bigger place. I'm always listening. I'm like, because I find it kind of funny at some point, but I know instantly if this resonates with me or not. So from the moment I hear something, my instinct tells me, yes, that might be interesting to think about it, or no, this is not where I want to go. And usually it's very sharp. So it's rare that I don't know after listening to someone or after thinking myself about something, I usually know because it's a gut instinct. I just listening to how I feel about it. I very
you're such
rarely
a star.
intellectualize it.
Because
I don't know.
that's such a talent, you know, to be able to trust this. Like there's so much information in the body and in our senses. No, there we have so much intelligence, and we tend to only listen to the thinking brain that is very limited in its capacity to absorb more of information and of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have, you know, the feeling that it's probably also a blessing of creative people or people that work, you know, in creative industries that are more in tune with their senses and their emotions. So I think that's also, you know, probably also an advantage now of being a creative, that you are more in touch with that.
Yeah, the kind of business definitely defines the whole thing. You know, for me, starting by myself, creating a place that would look like me. Obviously, when I grow, I want this place to still look like me. So the instinct talks from itself. You know, it's not like I created a concept and then I had to keep my business in that frame. So then I would need to intellectualize, like, oh yeah, I've decided that I would do like this. No, everything was coming from me. So growing gradually, everything still had to be just how I feel.
Yeah, I think there you nailed another point that goes back to the integrity, because this business sounds like it's an expression of who you are. Mm-hmm. So then it sounds like your North Star to make decisions is yourself, because you are creating this business as an expression of who you are. So then I think that also makes things easier. If you are trying to follow a model, then you wonder what's the right choice.
Yes,
but
exactly.
If you're doing it for the enjoyment of being your full self and your full expression, then it's so liberating, right? That I don't have to figure out what's the right thing out there. I just have to tune in.
It's your own path, and it's you just walking your own path. So there's no expectations of I should do this or I should do that. It's like, do I want to do this, or maybe I don't want to do it. That's it. That makes things very simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's not easy necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the blessing. When we are self-employed, we are entrepreneurs, that we tend to forget that that's our power to create things our own way, and that should be one of the biggest assets, that I get to choose how this goes. I get to be myself. I don't have to follow anyone else's path.
Yes.
And another topic that I would love to discuss with you, that we touched on briefly when I was last in the salon, is I love we start talking about flow. So I think this way of doing business compared to the old paradigm, where it's like first you need to do this, then that it's more linear. I see in businesses that respond to our own self-expression, that are more fluid, like more flow. And you talked last time about letting go. Like I think in your personal life and in your business, that it says, that, for example, like I want to do this, but then if something is not working well, like you kind of let go. So this balance between when do you have to let go and where you actually need to be the force that moves things forward. That's something that I personally struggle with. Like, when do I know I need to relax and trust, and when do I need to be more intentional about my efforts? Can you share a bit on that?
I think that's a very tricky thing because you can never be sure if you should let go or if you should force through, because sometimes you do have to force through to make something happen. You have to put extra efforts, and then you have the reward after. And indeed, sometimes it's just better to let go. I don't really know how I could. I'm just trying to think of a situation where I had to. Well, on my personal life, I've had so that separation and my son with my ex-partner forced me to let go, and in a way, I didn't have a choice. And I think before that time of my life, I was pretty much like everyone else. I would always have chosen to fight because you have an idea, you have a project, and you just want to make it happen. So even if it's hard sometimes, you're just like, yeah, I'm going to hold on to it, and then I have to make it happen. So I'm going to fight for it, and I really have to force my way through. And because in my personal life, at some point I had no choice but to let go, it has become very easy now for me to sometimes say, okay, let's just observe. Let's just see. Does this thing feels right or not? Or is it really leading to something that is so important that I have to fight for? And is it really worth to fight that much to get there? Or maybe it actually is not that important. And maybe I can find another way. So then I let go of this, and eventually I just find another way out of it, Once more, as I said, the fact that the business grew very gradually for me, it's very easy for me to know what I should let go or not, because those decisions have been very instinct from the beginning. But if I'm not sure, or if I don't know, because sometimes you have those struggles, like when we opened the cafe, for example, there was a big deal. I just sit and I try to observe, like I practice meditation regularly, and that helps me so much to reconnect to who I am and to what I really want. Because sometimes you are so much into that whirling of thoughts because you absolutely want something to happen, that if you just step back a little bit, you realize that because you cannot achieve that thing, you want it even more. Not because the thing is important, but because you haven't succeeded in making it happen. And that is to me a lot about the ego and what is really important there. Is it just because you want to prove yourself you can make it happen? Or is it just because it is very important and truly something you should fight for because it's important for your business or for your personal life? And then when you have this capacity to observe what is really important to what you just want to prove to yourself, then there is a lot of clarity in your decision making in a way.
I see. So what I am getting from that is that, at some point you're working toward things and you start sensing that it's draining you somehow, that it's becoming like exhausting. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the alarm that sends on, let's check your intention. Mm-hmm. Are you pushing because it's really important to you, or because it's your ego that wants to add that to the list?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or just to answer other people's expectations as well.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's such a commitment to your true self, to stay in alignment. That's another way of being. Okay. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And
thank you.
If there's someone else who is in the waiting list, what should we say to them?
Good luck. No, we're trying to do our best to please everyone and to welcome as many people as we can. But what I always say is that we are who we are, and we cannot change who we are just to accept more people. So we're working hard in order to do so. But I want everyone who comes for the first time to have the same experience than all the ones that are regularly coming.
Okay, so if you are in the waiting list, doesn't mean that you are not good enough or that the salon is very special. It's because you care a lot about bringing such a great experience that you're protector of this experience. And this is a country of expats, so people might leave. Okay. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for all of this. And I'm learning a lot about just by talking with you. There's things coming in my mind also as well. So it's like a self-therapy also to myself, So thank you.
Thank you.